What's going on, Jeff? Remember me, the fired Amazon worker that you signed off on the smear campaign? Now you're going to have the Met Gala where you're going to be surrounded by all these elites and billionaires and A-listers when you have poverty right outside on the street.
It's such a fun and meaningful experience. And when Anna called me and said, do you want to co-chair and also be the sponsors of the Met, I was so honored.
Told you to walk out to look out for billionaires, didn't they?
Yep.
Sure did.
Didn't they say it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than a rich man to see the kingdom happen? Do you know why? Because biblically they know what the horrible things you got to do.
That's not the kind of thing you say if you're trying to stay safe in Hollywood. But D.L. Hughley clearly isn't worried about fitting into that elite circle anymore. And now people are paying attention because he's exposing the whole setup without even saying the Met Gala out loud. A lot of black men already saw what was happening behind the scenes, but DL was bold enough to finally say what others only whisper about. So here's what he was really hinting at. Hughley called out billionaires like Jeff Bezos for dropping insane amounts of money on flashy weddings, while regular workers are still struggling to just get basic support and education. And according to DL, you can't stand on stages talking about justice and civil rights while also getting cozy with people like Bezos at the same time. And this is where everything started connecting for people. The same year Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez became honorary chairs for the Met Gala, protesters in New York were already out in the streets arguing that someone like Bezos should not be leading major cultural events that profit from black culture and influence. Even the theme this year had people raising eyebrows, but mainstream media barely touched the conversation. The official dress code sounded harmless at first. Fashion is art. But when people looked deeper into the Metropolitan Museum's own announcement, it talked about having a primary focus on a grand scope of Western art. And a lot of folks instantly caught what that was pointing toward: the obsession wealthy elites have with Roman and Greek-style power, status, and luxury. People started connecting it to billionaires like Bezos and Elon Musk, especially after Musk once changed his bio to Imperator of Mars, which had everybody confused and talking online for days.
People would rather go to space and pay people fair rate. They would rather have a $50 million wedding than to make sure that they're employed, than to make sure that people can read. They would rather sue the IRS for $10 billion to make sure people have free lunches.
Yeah.
Evil is as evil does. So what is about those people? When those people align themselves with you, it is transactional. It's for what they.
And once you start asking bigger questions, like who really controls the Met Gala, who picks which black celebrities get invited, what image they're expected to present, and what pressure comes with staying accepted in those circles, you can see why a lot of black men have decided they don't even want to be part of that world anymore. So let's talk about who really runs the Met Gala, because this is where the conversation starts getting uncomfortable for a lot of people. Anna Wintour, known for the signature bob haircut and those dark sunglasses she almost never removes, has been controlling the event for decades, and critics have been questioning the power she holds for years now. What shocked people is that even conservative media outlets started criticizing the event in harsh ways. The National Review, which usually is not connected to progressive talking points at all, once argued that the Met Gala brought back a form of social and racial separation. The article claimed Anna Wintour controlled celebrity appearances so tightly that famous guests were treated more like carefully managed public figures than independent stars. The piece even compared parts of the event atmosphere to an old-style auction environment, which immediately sparked backlash and debate online. The bigger issue critics kept bringing up was control. People started asking why celebrities, especially major black actors, athletes, and musicians, are expected to follow strict fashion rules, image standards, and public behavior guidelines created by elite fashion circles that are mostly controlled by wealthy insiders. So you end up with some of the biggest black stars in entertainment walking the carpet in expensive looks, posing for cameras, and helping generate millions for the museum and luxury fashion brands. Meanwhile, critics argue that very little of that money or influence directly benefits black communities. And when billionaires like Jeff Bezos are connected to the event leadership, it only adds more tension to the conversation. Now, Here's why this conversation hits differently for a lot of black men specifically. Every year, the Met Gala chooses a theme, and one year the spotlight was placed on black dandyism, sharp tailoring, polished fashion, and classic black style. On the surface, it sounded respectful and even celebratory, but once people started looking into the deeper history behind it, the reaction became way more complicated.
Culture comes from the creatives and the designers who keep this place vibrant. It comes from the hands that stitch the garments. It comes from the workers who move the packages, from the caregivers who hold communities together, from the people who make every little thing run. And that's why we're here, because labor is art.
Black dandyism goes all the way back to the Harlem Renaissance, during a time when black men were denied basic rights and constantly disrespected by society. Wearing elegant suits and presenting themselves with pride was not just about fashion, it was a statement of dignity and self-respect. It was a way of saying, I deserve to be seen as human, in a country that often refused to give that respect. That's what made the style powerful in the first place. But critics argue that when the Met Gala used that history as a luxury fashion theme, the original meaning started getting watered down. What began as a symbol of resistance was suddenly being turned into high-end entertainment for wealthy elites and cameras flashing everywhere. And some people also questioned why black women were encouraged to wear more masculine-inspired looks for the event, saying it added another layer to an already controversial conversation. Now, this is the part where the conversation became a lot more serious, because people stopped talking only about fashion and started questioning the bigger message behind certain moments that actually happened at the Met Gala. The same article criticizing Anna Wintour also brought up several controversial red carpet choices that sparked huge reactions online. One example people debated heavily was Halle Berry wearing an extremely revealing outfit on the carpet. Another moment that caused backlash was K-pop star Lisa wearing a design that included imagery connected to Rosa Parks in a way many people felt was disrespectful and inappropriate. Those moments instantly had social media asking questions. People wanted to know how looks like that even make it through planning stages at such a massive event. Critics argued that something tied to civil rights history should never be used in a way that feels careless or performative, especially at a luxury celebrity event watched by millions. And this is where conversations about influence and pressure inside Hollywood started getting louder. Some people believe celebrities at that level often feel pushed to go along with shocking fashion choices because there's intense pressure to stay connected to powerful industry circles. In entertainment, many believe reputation, access, and future opportunities can depend on keeping the right people happy.
In the right hands, the theme of fashion and art and how those two things got separated in the first place could be fascinating. But I am deeply troubled by the fact that their website says that they are literally going to be focusing primarily on Western art. It looks like we're going really heavy on the Greek and Roman themes, specifically the version of those themes that's highly fetishized by white supremacists and billionaires. As predicted, under the Trump administration, museums are making more and more conservative choices and showing things that really are uncritical celebrations of whiteness. Not Europeanness, mind you. Whiteness at the expense of everything else.
The entertainment industry is smaller than most people realize, and Anna Wintour has been one of the most powerful figures connected to fashion and celebrity culture for decades. Because of that influence, critics often question how much pressure celebrities feel behind the scenes when it comes to appearances, fashion choices, and public image at events like the Met Gala. Some people see the event as harmless luxury entertainment, while others believe there's a deeper system at play, where celebrities are expected to follow certain unspoken rules if they want to stay connected to powerful industry circles. That's why debates around the gala have become so intense online. And when it comes to black men specifically, many critics argue the pressure looks different but still exists. They may not always be pushed toward the same kinds of controversial fashion moments, but there's still an expectation to fit a certain image, stay polished, avoid conflict, and never appear difficult in public. A lot of people have pointed out that the moment a black man openly criticizes the industry or shows frustration, he can quickly get labeled as angry, aggressive, or hard to work with. Because of that, some choose to keep their distance from these spaces entirely. Critics say that's why people have started paying attention not just to who attends these events, but also to who quietly stays away. We already mentioned stars like Denzel Washington and Samuel L. Jackson, but the list goes even deeper. Terrence Howard, Morgan Freeman, and Forrest Whitaker, all major Oscar-winning actors with legendary careers, have also largely stayed away from the Met Gala over the years. Maybe some were invited privately at different points. Maybe some attended once and never returned. But people online keep noticing the same pattern again and again. A lot of highly respected black men in entertainment seem to keep their distance from the event. And what really stands out is how rarely they speak publicly about it. You almost never hear someone openly say, "I'm boycotting the Met Gala," because many believe criticizing powerful Hollywood and fashion institutions can create backlash behind the scenes. Instead, critics argue that some stars simply choose not to participate quietly. Over time, that silence has fueled more speculation about how certain celebrities truly view the event and the culture surrounding it. Some commentators have used strong comparisons to describe the atmosphere, arguing that wealthy elites benefit from watching celebrities carefully perform luxury, status, and image for cameras, while major corporations and institutions profit in the background. Those comparisons have made a lot of people uncomfortable, especially once conversations started connecting billionaire influence, celebrity culture, and D.L. Hughley's comments about power and control in elite spaces.
Please have a serious conversation about how black women were styled at this year's Met Gala. Because while a dress code might have been menswear, the overall theme was dandyism. And we saw a lot, so let's digest this. Now, dandyism has always been about rebellion, challenging societal norms, and self-expression. But here's the thing. Black women has never been fully allowed to even exist in that narrative.
A lot of people will brush the criticism off by saying it's just a party or you're looking too deep into it. But critics argue the conversation changes once you start paying attention to who holds the power behind the scenes and who benefits the most from events like this. People online have pointed to figures like Jeff Bezos, the billionaire behind Amazon, whose company has faced years of criticism over workplace conditions and union disputes. So when someone like that becomes connected to a glamorous charity event celebrating black fashion and culture, it immediately raises questions for a lot of observers. That's basically the point D.L. Hughley was making. Critics believe powerful elites often enjoy the image, creativity, and cultural influence connected to black communities, but they don't always invest back into those same communities in meaningful ways. According to that argument, the culture becomes valuable, the style becomes marketable, and the celebrity appearances create attention and prestige for the event. People also argue that celebrity influence can sometimes be used as a form of branding. Put major black stars on invitations, red carpets, and magazine covers, and the event suddenly feels culturally important and connected to something authentic. Meanwhile, critics say the real power and wealth often stay concentrated in the same elite circles year after year. And that's why Hughley's comments got so much attention online. He wasn't describing some hidden conspiracy or secret society. He was criticizing a system that people believe exists openly in celebrity culture, fashion, and billionaire influence. Whether people agree with him or not, his words clearly struck a nerve because the conversation spread fast. And once people started looking at it from that angle, the Met Gala stopped feeling like just another celebrity fashion event for a lot of viewers. Suddenly, people were paying attention to the patterns. Who gets celebrated, who gets criticized, and who quietly disappears after speaking too openly. That's another reason D.L. Hughley's comments hit so hard online. He wasn't attacking fashion itself. He was questioning the power structure around it. Critics say there's a difference between appreciating black culture and turning it into luxury entertainment for wealthy audiences who only interact with it when cameras are flashing. And the timing made the whole thing even louder. While regular people are struggling with rent, layoffs, and rising prices, social media gets flooded with billionaires and celebrities walking up giant staircases and outfits worth more than most people make in years. That contrast alone already frustrates people. But when the event markets itself around themes connected to Black identity and history, the criticism becomes even more intense. A lot of people also noticed how carefully controlled everything feels. The guest list is exclusive, interviews are polished, and celebrities rarely speak freely once they're inside those circles. That's why moments like D.L. Hughley speaking out stand out so much, because most people in Hollywood avoid these conversations completely. And the more people talk about it, the more others start wondering if the real story of the Met Gala has never been about fashion at all, but about influence, status, and who gets to control the culture.
You don't care how people feel about the ritual. It's about, does following the ritual work? Yeah, and so you can fool yourself into thinking there isn't one, but the evidence will be clear.
And that question about control is exactly why so many people have started looking at celebrity culture differently over the last few years. Because once you notice how much influence a small group of wealthy insiders has over fashion, media, film, and music, it changes the way these events look completely. People started realizing the Met Gala is not just about outfits or red carpets, it's about access. Being invited signals status. It tells the industry who is in, who is trending, and who is considered valuable in elite spaces. That's why critics argue celebrities often play along even when they may privately disagree with certain themes, looks, or expectations. For Black celebrities especially, the pressure can become even more complicated. Many fans want them to represent the culture with pride, while major fashion brands and media companies still expect them to fit into carefully managed images that feel safe for wealthy audiences. And when somebody steps outside those expectations, backlash can come fast. That's why D.L. Hughley speaking so openly surprised a lot of people. Most entertainers avoid connecting race, money, celebrity influence, and billionaire power in public conversations because those topics make powerful people uncomfortable. But once the discussion started spreading online, more people began revisiting old Met Gala moments with a completely different perspective. Suddenly, outfits that once looked glamorous started feeling more symbolic to critics, like performances designed to entertain elite audiences while deeper issues stayed ignored in the background. And for many viewers, that's when the event stopped looking untouchable and started looking political. And once people started seeing the Met Gala as political instead of just fashionable, the entire conversation shifted again. Because now critics weren't only talking about clothes anymore. They were talking about symbolism, influence, and who gets to define culture on a global stage. A lot of viewers began asking why elite fashion spaces suddenly become interested in Black history, Black aesthetics, and Black creativity only when it can be turned into luxury branding. That question kept popping up online again and again. People pointed out how quickly corporations and celebrity events celebrate Black culture publicly, while many of the same industries still face criticism over representation, hiring, and economic inequality behind the scenes. And that's where D.L. Hughley's message connected with so many people. His comments tapped into a bigger frustration that's been building for years, the feeling that powerful institutions love the image of Black culture, but stay disconnected from the real struggles affecting Black communities every day. Critics also noticed how these conversations usually disappear fast once the event is over. The headlines move on, celebrities post glamorous photos, fashion magazines celebrate the best dressed, and the deeper debates quietly fade into the background until the next controversy appears.
All billionaires are evil. I think most are. I do. I don't think most white men are, all white men are racist. I think most are. And I don't think all men are toxic. I think most are, because I can tell you, you should judge them by their fruit. All the things that are happening that are racist and evil, who's on that list? Billionaires. Who's protecting them? Billionaires. Why do we not have money for social services? Billionaires. Almost a million people are dead right now because they cut off the funding for USAID.
But this time, more people kept talking about it because social media changed the way audiences react. Viewers are no longer just watching the red carpet. They're analyzing who profits, who gets represented, and what messages are being pushed through celebrity culture. And the more people question those systems openly, the harder it becomes for events like the Met Gala to avoid criticism completely. And that growing criticism is exactly why conversations around the Met Gala feel way more intense now than they did years ago. People are no longer just impressed by expensive fashions and celebrity appearances. They're paying attention to the messaging behind the glamour and asking who truly benefits from all the attention and money surrounding these events. One thing critics keep bringing up is how quickly celebrity culture can turn serious history into entertainment. A theme inspired by struggle, identity, or resistance can easily become a viral fashion moment instead of a meaningful conversation. And once luxury brands, billionaires, and social media trends get involved, many people feel the original meaning starts getting lost. That's why D.L. Hughley's comments resonated with so many viewers online. He challenged the idea that visibility alone equals progress. Just because black celebrities are front and center at major events doesn't automatically mean power is being shared equally behind the scenes. Critics argue there's a huge difference between being celebrated publicly and actually having control over the institutions, money, and decisions shaping the industry. People also started questioning why so many celebrities look uncomfortable discussing these topics openly. Some fans believe entertainers understand the pressure, but avoid saying too much because careers in Hollywood and fashion can change fast once someone is labeled controversial or difficult. And that silence only keeps fueling more speculation. Because when powerful events are surrounded by strict image control, billionaire influence, and carefully managed public narratives, audiences naturally start wondering what conversations are happening privately that never make it in front of the cameras. And the more those private conversations stay hidden, the more public suspicion keeps growing. That's why every year after the Met Gala ends, social media turns into a giant debate instead of just a fashion recap. Some people still see it as harmless celebrity entertainment, but others now view it as a perfect example of how wealth, influence, and culture all mix together at the highest level. Critics especially focus on how carefully curated the entire event feels. Every guest is selected, every outfit is approved, every photo is polished, and every interview is controlled. Nothing about the night looks accidental. And when an event becomes that tightly managed, people naturally start wondering what image is really being sold to the public. For a lot of viewers, the biggest issue is authenticity. They question whether celebrities are truly expressing themselves or simply playing roles inside a system built by luxury brands, media executives, and billionaire-backed institutions. That's why some fans say the most powerful statement a celebrity can make now is quietly refusing to participate altogether. And that idea connects directly back to D.L. Hughley's comments. He wasn't saying famous people should never attend glamorous events. He was challenging the larger machines surrounding those events. The system where cultural influence creates billions of dollars, while everyday communities often see very little benefit from it. That's the part that keeps making people uncomfortable. Because once you stop looking at the Met Gala as just fashion and start seeing it as a symbol of status and power, the entire event starts feeling completely different to a lot of people watching from the outside. And once people started viewing the Met Gala as a symbol of power instead of just celebrity fashion, even small details began getting analyzed differently. Viewers weren't only talking about outfits anymore. They were paying attention to body language, guest lists, seating arrangements, brand sponsorships, and which celebrities seemed genuinely comfortable versus those who looked like they were just trying to survive the night without controversy. That's why every viral moment from the event now sparks instant debate online. One photo, one awkward interview, or one controversial outfit can turn into a larger conversation about race, class, image control, and who really benefits from celebrity culture. And because social media moves so fast, those conversations spread globally within minutes. Critics also argue that events like the Met Gala create the illusion of inclusion while still keeping real power concentrated at the top. Celebrities may become the face of the night, but the institutions, fashion houses, and billionaire donors behind the scenes continue controlling the money, access, and influence year after year. And for many people watching, that imbalance becomes impossible to ignore once themes connected to Black identity or history enter the picture. The conversation immediately shifts from fashion into something deeper. Questions about ownership, representation, and whether culture is being appreciated or simply packaged for profit. That's why D.L. Hughley's comments continued circulating long after the event ended. He said something a lot of people were already thinking privately, and once those conversations reached mainstream audiences, the Met Gala stopped feeling untouchable to many viewers anymore. Critics have been saying for years that the Met Gala operates like an exclusive system built around wealth, status, and influence. They point to billionaires like Jeff Bezos becoming honorary chairs, while major Black celebrities help bring attention, culture, and energy to the event. But at the same time, many people keep asking the same question: how much of that influence or money actually finds its way back into Black communities? And that's why so many viewers keep noticing the absence of certain legendary Black actors and entertainers. Some people believe stars like Denzel Washington and others stay away, not because they were ignored, but because they simply choose not to participate in that world at all. To critics, that silence speaks louder than any public statement ever could. So maybe the real story of the Met Gala is not just about who walks the red carpet. Maybe it's about who stays away from it completely and why. That's the question D.L. Hughley pushed into the spotlight, and clearly it made a lot of people uncomfortable. But now I want to hear your opinion. Why do you think some of the biggest Black stars rarely attend the Met Gala? And do you agree with D.L. Hughley's criticism of billionaire influence in celebrity culture? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like, subscribe, and share this video with somebody who needs to hear this conversation.